Not that death or retirement need necessarily put an end to a career, particularly if that career's in the recording industry. Earlier this week, Queen released their latest album, Queen Forever, a compilation of previously unheard material which features performances from the band's lead vocalist, Freddie Mercury, who died in 1991, and bassist John Deacon, who thought he retired from the music industry in 1997. Not just them either, because the track There Must Be More to Life Than This also includes a vocal contribution from Michael Jackson. Brian May and Roger Taylor called in William Orbit, producer to the likes of Madonna, Blur and Britney Spears, to produce that particular track. And when I spoke to him down the line to his studio in Los Angeles, I asked him what raw material he'd been given to work with.
A studio piano that was Freddie played, which was really a demo piano as he was working out the song. His vocals, which were beautifully recorded. And then the Jackson vocal was a kind of throwdown. I think he came in and did one take, and you can actually hear Freddie saying things like middle eight, bridge, chorus, repeat, and so on, which of course I chopped out, but it wasn't technically great on the Jackson front. No meaning to impugn the technical guys at the time, it was just that was like the first take and he must have gone. So a little technically challenging, and then Roger put on drums, and then later the bass from John Deacon, very good bass part. And then I went down to Brian May's house to record guitar. One of his country mansions with all these telescopes. He goes downstairs to this kind of hall where he's got his amp. I'm up in a different place, a little outhouse, with his engineer watching him on a monitor. And he straps on this guitar, you know, and it's like, I'm not going to sit here and watch that on a monitor. I'm going. And I ran downstairs, I remember, and was so excited by the noise he was making, I started doing air guitar at him, you know, like right standing next to him. And since he didn't boot me away, you know, I thought, well, this is all right. This is the kind of moment we live for in this game.
What was it like hearing Michael Jackson's vocal track for the first time?
Spine-tingling, to be honest.
Given that the fans are very protective and the artist isn't around to kind of say, hang on a minute, I don't want you to do that, what were your rules about what you could and couldn't do?
Well, the rules were technical for a starter. I had to make sure that he was clear and he swallows a word as he's singing it, you know, that I somehow find that same syllable somewhere else. It does happen. He was a one-take thing, don't forget. And at the same time, the sort of spiritual legacy of it all.
Were you surprised by anything when you were trying to mix them together? Was there anything that didn't work that surprised you?
Well, the timing in places where they're intended to be together, and they weren't. Because usually what happens is a singer lays down a vocal and then somebody's going to track it and do a, you know, go along with it. The timing has to be good, particularly on the S's and the T's. That's what you notice. It'll sound horrible if it's wrong. So you often end up just removing the odd T and the odd S so that they kind of share a T or share an S.
And let's talk about Let Me In Your Heart Again as well. When I heard that, it sounds like an absolutely classic Queen track. How would you describe the difference between your mix and that on the album? Because you've done a special mix for YouTube, which is for charity. They've got a shorter mix on the album. What's the difference between the two?
The mix was great because they did say, the thing about this, William, we want you to do your thing. That's the point.
So they gave you a completely free hand with that?
They did. They just, and I'd say, what would you like me to do? Give me some pointers, because I like having pointers. And they said, well, do your thing, William. Just do it. So I did.
There's an interesting moment on the YouTube video where you've got the little image clip from Bohemian Rhapsody, and there's a sort of almost like a little sound tribute to that choral singing on Bohemian Rhapsody. Was that a big song for you?
Well, of course. It's the big Bohemian elephant in the room. You know that Queen in the past have broken all the rules when it comes to pop songs. They do really riffy tracks that everybody can sing along at football matches, and then underneath it all, is actually incredible Handel-esque vocals. I mean, had they been born in the classical era, they'd be writing oratorios. I was able to take things like a sort of throwaway outtake vocal from the original recording and put chords that belong somewhere else in the song. At the end of the song, that outro is new, but it's really there to re-juxtaposing things. I always do that. I'll always take a middle eight and stick it and see what it sounds like on the verse chords and whatnot, and it worked so well, I thought. I mean, it's one of my favourite last outros of any song I've ever worked on.
I just wanted to end with, what do you think of posthumous releases more generally? I mean, this week Pink Floyd are releasing The Endless River. They've got Rick Wright, who died in 2008, contributing the keyboard tracks to that.
It's fantastic. I mean, I know the music listening public's going to have some really good... Sounds terrible, doesn't it? Because I'm in pop, but it's like, yeah, pop is really crap right now. It's just so weak. It's just hollow. It's run out of steam. So we got some great music to listen to this Christmas. Proper stuff, you know, and I'm sounding old-fashioned now. Some really good stuff. And I love doing this.
You'd do it again?
Oh, bring it on. There are some artists I wouldn't do because I would be like, what the hell can I do that's not done already? I can't improve on it. Please, can I just stay a fan? But there are others where, I don't know, I could do Rolling Stones. I mean, you know, they might have a little guffaw at the thought of it. It's like, what do we want some electronic pop guy to mess with our stuff? But it's like, well, you know what? Send me the multi-tracks. We'll see what happens, because I love it.
William Orbit. The album Queen Forever is out now, and his extended version of Let Me In Your Heart Again can be found on YouTube.